Okay, I think we're live. Hi, everybody. I'm Sophie, Communications and Marketing Director at Become Studios, and I'm joined by.
Hi, I'm Paul, producer on Madzik.
And I'm Felix, game designer on Madzik.
So, guys, we have big news today. What's happening today?
We're launching the game. Woo.
On Steam.
Yeah, the game is on Steam now, so go and get it. Madzik Episode 1 is at 30% discount for the launch, so be sure you grab it while you can on this price. And today we're gonna dive right into some gameplay. So what are we gonna do exactly, guys?
Yeah, we're gonna play Quest 3. We've already played through Quests 1 and 2, and we have a couple of new abilities that we're gonna go look at before we start, and then we're gonna get into Quest 3.
Perfect. And so what can you tell the audience about Madzik? What is Madzik to people that have no idea what the game is?
Yeah. So should I go?
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
Felix.
So Madzik is a hack and slash game where you control a team of heroes, whether you're playing in co-op as we are right now, with each controlling one hero, or if you're playing solo, you get to switch between heroes as you play. So you have your buddy team of heroes, and you fight enemies, and you kind of explore their fantastic, strange, interesting, weird world, where you're just like discovering what their world is, and you're living through their adventure with them.
So you mentioned two heroes. What can you tell us about them and who you're playing right now?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be playing as Makino, the big melee bruiser guy that just like gets right up close to the enemies and right in their faces and hammers them and beats everybody.
Can we go see Makino?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Makino's the
There
big
he is.
blue bear with the giant hammer. So I just jump into the action and I fight everybody up close. While Veralyn is a spellcaster, she's slightly more frail, but she has like longer ranged attacks and she can control the battlefield with her abilities.
So you're in a airship right now, where it's kind of your hub. I see you're equipping your skills in a Tome of Mastery. So there is skill customization in the game. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we have like right now we're looking at Makino's talent tree, like it's called the Tome of Mastery in game. So now we see like basically it's a scrapbook with Makino's stuff in it, because if we switch to Veralyn, we saw it earlier, like we have Veralyn's version. So now we play the game and we unlock new abilities by completing quests and just doing a couple of other things. And as we do that, we now have access to equip them on our heroes. So now we see that Makino has like 3 normal abilities equipped and 2 Moon Fury abilities. And as you progress, you can use them, you can change them, you can like see how they work and if they work for you. So I picked the ones I like most. Hammerang's really useful because Makino is more like in the enemy's faces usually, but he gets a ranged attack with Hammerang.
So are you more tanky or are you more range, Felix, in general as a player?
I'm always tanky.
I see.
That's what I do in everything I play. I'm in people's faces a lot.
So Paul has picked Veralyn. Can you tell us a bit about this character?
Well, yeah, Veralyn, she's a spellcaster, a range character, and our real strength is about CC, so crowd control. Most of our skills are based on crowd controlling. She's got massive firepower as well, and some of her spells or attacks. So it's a great combo with Makino to play together. There's a synergy between both.
So why don't we go and see some gameplay? And you did mention synergy. Of course, it's a co-op game. Felix, you mentioned it. You can play solo. So how does it differentiate when you're solo? Do you have both heroes in the game? Can you swap in between the two seamlessly? How does that work?
Yeah, so if you're playing in co-op with 2 people, you can like do team attacks where you set up something and the other player like attacks in it. If you're playing solo, you can fight. Let's say I start with Makino and I'm fighting, and then I can switch at pretty much any time. There's a short cooldown to Veralyn to just smash into the battlefield. Like she teleports in and explodes basically.
Oh, that looks great.
The enemies, not herself. And when you switch, there's like this switch moment. You get damage and you get to use your other hero's abilities, and you can switch back and forth. So sometimes it's possible to set up enemies in Veralyn's black hole where they just get pulled in, and then you can switch switch to Mechino to smash the enemies in the black hole and then explode them with a giant hammer strike, for example.
Awesome. So I see there's some story happening. So we're in quest 3. We're
Four right now.
looking for now Find Foom's hideout. What can you tell about the general story of Madzik?
Okay, so that's going to be interesting with the fighting happening. We'll try to see if I can concentrate. So we are in Zikverländ, in this strange storybook world where there are these creatures that are kind of fantasy creatures that exist in that world, and you kind of came back after being gone for a while. So basically that's how the story starts. And then after you come back, you get kind of asked for help by, we saw him for a second in the airship, like Suri, the little
Oh no,
mouse
Makino!
guy. Yeah, I'm gonna try to talk.
Here you go. Can you explain what's happening right now? I see you've used like your Madzik potion. You've transformed.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So when we fight, we accumulate. So by defeating enemies, we can accumulate Madzik energy. So that's the little test tube that's on the bottom of the screen. We each have our own, and once that's filled up with Madzik energy, so the little purple orbs that we see when we kill an enemy. So when we defeat an enemy, we see these purple orbs kind of go from the enemy to a hero. We saw it for a second there.
Oh, no, I died.
So what happens when somebody's down?
Okay. Well, Paul, since you're...
You
Yeah.
want to cover that? Yeah.
There's two different cases. If you're in co-op, you get a timer. Yeah, as you see now, I have 5 seconds to go before I can spawn again. If both characters die, then it's game over. You need to restart the segment. If you're in solo play, you actually change to the other character, and the character that died eventually gets his health back and can, you can switch back to him if you want.
So the other character also has a respawn timer?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
There's a little recovery time before they can join the action again.
So I can tell you two have played together before, because you're like, it seems you're doing really well without really communicating.
Well, yeah. I guess we know the characters a lot.
So what would
You
be
know the
your
skills.
tip to a new player that has never played and is wanting to try with a friend for the first time? What should
My
they
first
know?
tip would be use a game controller.
Yeah.
The game is designed for a game controller. It does work on keyboard and mouse, but everything is designed to work with the controller. It's a lot easier. So that's my first tip. Second tip, start at the beginning.
Yeah, the game's difficulty ramps up. So starting in Quest 4, if you have never played before, well, you can't really because your save game is in there. But yeah, it gets challenging. We made the game to be interesting, from start to finish, so that you don't get like, oh, this is way too easy and I'm not getting challenged anymore. And the challenge is there.
So it's not like one of these mindless hack and slash, you just one slash everything and
No.
just go, and you really have to strategize the way you play, right?
Yeah. So you have to. This is a great example. So like this enemy has a pattern of attacks that just gives you some openings, but also will destroy you if you try to fight him when he's not open.
Which happened to me.
Yeah, so you have to kind of read what the enemies do so that you can anticipate and avoid their attacks, like in this case, or the assassin just throwing their dagger at me, or the swordman trying to smash me on the head with a giant sword. So you have to kind of read the battlefield to make sure that you don't get destroyed and that you have time to...
Oh, what's this pole you're doing here?
That's Veroline's heavy attack. So basically, if you crank it up, she's got a powerful beam.
Well done.
This is her normal version. Oh,
And now we can access the sunshine, and I'm gonna take astral Mind, because that just increases our damage.
So what is this? What does that do?
Yeah, so when the sunshrines are present in some rooms when you're exploring, when you're playing through the levels, and when you clear the room, the sunshine activates, so it was lit up for a second, well, before I accessed it. So I'm gonna just consume these. Okay, So when you access it, you have a choice between 3 buffs that you can pick one or pick none if you want. When you activate it, you get the buff that we see at the bottom of the screen, the flexing bicep. So that's Astral Might, and it lasts for 3 combat rooms that we're gonna face as we go. So we have 15% more damage for 3 rooms now.
So both heroes get that
Yeah.
bonus.
That's shared between all characters.
Okay. Now I see the environment has just drastically changed to like a snow environment. Obviously, the moon changes is a very distinctive element of Madzik. How did you come to design this, and how does it work and impact the gameplay?
Yeah. Basically,
Got this.
again, that ties into the lore of the world and the basically the world. I'm down for 18 seconds, so I have time to talk.
Uh-oh.
Paul, you're carrying now. Let's do it.
So in the world of Zikverländ in Madzik, basically there's an evil sorcerer that teleported in moons from other worlds, planets, universes. And I'm gonna come back. Wait.
Yeah, you got this.
So he stole the moons from other places, so that brought like a chaos to Zikverländ. It was all nice and fun and lovely before, and now it became kind of chaotic and messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So your job is to kind of stop the evil sorcerer. And these moons appear in the sky every now and then, and they kind of take over. So basically, think of it like a magical eclipse that just starts making everything chaotic. So we have different flavors of moons. So currently we are under the ice moon, and the ice moon freezes the ground. I'm still gonna get.
And you slip a bit, like
Yeah, it freezes the ground. So I'm trying to accelerate, but I'm slow because I try to change directions. And yeah, the ice moon will freeze the ground, and it changes enemies. As you can see the bomber gnome in the middle with the bomb. Now his bomb is icy.
Mm-hmm.
And if he hits you with the bomb, you get chilled and frozen. And
So
that's
you've
not good.
mentioned the ice moon, Paul. Can you tell us about the other moons we could potentially come across in the game?
Yeah, we also have the fire moon. So everything is based on the fire element. So
Oh, what's this one?
this is the ice moon still.
Ah, okay.
That's a
No, skip.
Tempest.
Sorry, it's the other
That's
one. It's the
Tempest,
tempest.
yeah.
So this one is more based on rain and lightning.
Yeah, there's a lot of lightning, like as we see, because when enemies become empowered by the moon, we call them moon touched.
That's when they're bigger on the screen. Is that it? Right now
Oh.
they're huge.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
pin
it's
against
difficult
the wall.
while we talk.
Yeah, you got this.
Yeah, when they become moon touched, they gain like the powers of that moon. So there was the bomber with the ice bomb one room ago, and we saw the big lightning chain between the 2 gnomes in the set, or the 2 enemies. I'm not sure which ones they were. That is 2 moon touched enemies by the Tempest moon. So
Awesome. And there's also VOs in the game. Can you tell how it was in the process of having VOs? How can you, for somebody that has no idea how game development works, what are the steps to actually get a voice in the game?
okay, well, let's start from the beginning. So basically, we spent some time writing the dialogues because they don't just happen. So you write the dialogues, you kind of polish them to make sure that they feel good and that they represent the characters. Then we send them to the VO studio. Well,
actually, there's a step before that.
Yeah, we audition people.
Well, no, there's even a step before that.
Okay.
Especially now in 2024, the big buzzword is AI. So we do actually test all the VOs with the AI voices first.
Yeah.
After that, we go into audition, studio, recording.
So what is
Mixing.
the purpose? Is to know exactly the tone you're looking for in each of the characters? Is that what you mean?
Yes, and it's also used to refine the text. If you see, some things is too long or the meaning isn't quite right.
I see.
So you get to make all those changes before you actually go into studio and book some talent time, which is expensive. So you get to do a lot of testing and tweaking with AI first.
And then you audition the actors and you work with the audio partner then to plug that in the game.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
So we we had, let's say, basically a dozen candidates for each character. We listened to all the samples. We chose the one that we liked best, with a little committee of a couple of people in there. Okay, I like this one. Oh, I like this one better.
That's
let's talk
really
it out.
cool.
And once we figured out like the best actors that we wanted, we went to the studio and everything. And that's like a voice actor's job. You think, oh, they're just gonna be talking, so whatever. It's gonna be like, I don't know, a minute of a line. That's it. No, it's a full day of work for the main characters. Have basically a full day's work of recording in them. So that's a good 6-7 hours of acting and talking and in some cases yelling. Because
You have to be in the character and put in that emotion.
yeah, there's some actual acting going on in there. It's a real like they're I don't like saying that, but like real actors, like air quotes.
Well, obviously, yeah.
You don't see them, but they're still acting.
Yes, that's great.
And yeah, just it was a lot of fun because I got to attend like all of these recording sessions remotely, and
Wow,
seeing and hearing the actors bringing the text that you write like to life. That's really cool because hey, we spend a lot of time writing all the lines and refining them and making sure that they all work, and then you see and hear people like.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't get to see them when you're playing, but seeing them as they record, like sometimes some of them are very like active with their hands and body movements and stuff to just like, okay, now I am a big, strong bear that just beats people up with a hammer and I put some emotion in it. I'm backing up.
That's awesome. And this leads me to having a question for you, Paul, in terms of production. You have the idea of the game, which we know the story came from Fred telling bedtime stories to his children. There was before that Little Lords of Twilight, which you were the producer of. Now I want to know, how does it feel to come back to this universe for another time and seeing this finally come to life?
It's quite different. First one was a turn-based tactical game on mobile, which yes, it was in the same world, same IP. This version is quite different. The entire story is different. We use some of the same characters, but for other purposes this time. The story and the setting evolved with the years. At least in terms of video game development and what we did with it. There's also the bedtime version that obviously did not change, but everything comes from there. So it was nice to see everything in a different setting,
Completely.
within the same
Yeah.
setting, if it makes sense.
And
The execution is very different.
the production also, I mean, itself, from going to a mobile game, now you're working on a PC game, I assume is completely, starting from scratch, aside from, as you say, character and perhaps elements of the story. Out of curiosity, are you more of a strategy turn-based fan or hack and slash player? In
Me,
your free
personally?
time? Yeah, in your free time.
Hack and slash.
What
real
about
time.
you, Felix?
Yeah, I think there's I like the hack and slash aspect where you're in the action. You don't have you have time to think because you have to figure out like how the enemies work, but it's more visceral and you're always on basically because you can't really take a break because you're getting attacked from every direction.
And here I am making you speak at the same time, but you're
Yeah, it's
doing
difficult
great.
to.
Concentration. It's an interesting challenge.
You mentioned there were some artistic choices when it comes to the vibe of the game. So we can feel that this has strong influences of the 80s. Could you tell how that came about and how you were able to implement that in a storytelling, but also in an artistic way in the game?
Yeah, so there was a lot of work that went into getting our 80s and kind of retro aesthetic because we see like the neon, we see the feel, but there's also this big, let's say, practical effect element. When the action slows down for a second, I'll point out some things. Like we have this mushroom over here that's kind of
You
made
got
of
this.
corduroy. If we take a close look. Just a second. Take out. Oh no, there's more.
There's more coming.
Well, okay, well, when this
Well,
way.
you designed it.
Well, yeah, but it's been a while. I don't think I have to leave myself some room to describe the decor.
So what do they have on top of the head? Sometimes they have a heart, sometimes they have fire. Can you explain what we see on
Yeah,
there?
the hearts they come from Verline. It's our marionette skill. So basically, the enemies turn against each other. So it gives you a break. So if you let them fight, you can actually focus on another group.
Now I assume they're burning because of your boulders. When they have the fire?
When we see the little fire icon, like we do now,
Yeah.
it's on fire. So my boulders light enemies on fire. Now we have a tiny break. So if we go look at the mushroom over here, like it's made of corduroy, you see like these textile elements. Like the rock is made of styrofoam with some painting feeling on it. So it's all. We wanted to give the world a handcrafted aesthetic. Like it's made of little dioramas and maquettes that. Like these characters are living in a sort of built world. Like we see like paintbrushes. Oh no, enemies! So we see all of this, all of these materials and tools and handcrafting elements that are dispersed all over the world. So that goes into the sort of practical effect aesthetic and feeling that we wanted to give. So. And it goes, I think, hand in hand with the 80s aesthetic where you have these neon elements. We have, they're visible a lot more in the menus, but we have some elements as well in the
Ooh,
world.
what's this guy?
So he's
dead.
He was a crusader.
He was not that impressive finally, but
Well, we saw his elite buddy before when we started the room, and it was pretty impressive.
So Felix, your magic potion or thingy, how do you call that? In the bottom left, it's kind of shiny, and I assume it's full.
Yeah, right now it's full. I don't feel the pressing need to use it right now because I think we're gonna have
Saving it for later.
a bigger wave in a couple of
That's
enemies. But
wise.
I think it'll be worth using it after this guy goes down. I think. So
All right. Okay.
When we get to this part.
It's just like okay. All right. Okay, and I see you've accumulated also quite a bit of gold. It seems like. What can you get with that? And how is it outside of, after a quest? So you can go and buy things at any time. I'd like you to explain that mechanic.
Yep.
Gold, I can go for it.
Sure.
Gold is used in 2 instances. There's one, so you get to spend it in the shrines for buffs that last for certain durations. Like this one is 5 rooms of combat. This one is 5 rooms as well. This one is 3 rooms. So they have a different price. You can only purchase one at a time, but they do stack. So if you get rooms if the next room also has a shrine, you can buy a second one, and they will stack. And those are very useful. So you can spend your money there. The other place is the hub. At the beginning of the stream, we saw where we chose a few skills, and we bought some passives quickly. That's where you spend most of your money, and you can reset, change your passives. There's no penalties. You can try all of them if you want.
Awesome.
Did we pick one?
I did not, because I don't think we need it. Do we need some healing? No.
Well, your call. You can do more special attacks.
We can reflect damage.
You can say like,
Let's
hey.
reflect damage.
Okay. So I'm still in Moon Fury form. So I'm basically I'm a bear bat. Okay, now I'm back to being a bear. So we keep making progress through the quest. In quest 4, we're exploring the Gloomlands. So we were in the forest earlier. We're still kind of in the forest, but we're in a cave that's kind of magically been kind of open. If you think a convertible
Should we go get
cave.
more passives?
Sure. Let's go into the ship.
It's gonna help.
So we have during quests, you make progress. You have access to the ship in a couple of different places.
Oops.
And as you go to the ship, you can talk to Suri, who's standing on this little.
The mouse guy.
The little mouse guy is standing on this platform. And now Paul is shopping for passives. So that's your other place where you can use your gold. So you can purchase like these 20 passives that let you tweak how your heroes play. And in this case, you have like different damage effects on attacks. So we could have more status effects applied to enemies. And you're in Suri's ship, so you can rest for a moment. And then you keep exploring, keep fighting, and you get the story that reveals itself as you make progress. There's some story that comes as you play, so you have dialogues during the action between the heroes. Sometimes the villain of the first episode will chime in, because speaking of voice acting, that was a lot of fun recording his lines, because he is, I'd say over the top. I'd say, well, not drama queen because he's a guy, but like drama king, I guess. He like basically my instructions as we were recording, like bigger act, like overact and chew the scenery as much
Over
as you
the
can.
top.
Yeah, you are basically he's a demigod with almost unlimited power, so he's above everybody and you're nothing to him. So he makes fun of you and well, it picks on you a bit, but in interesting ways.
So was it a similar process when it comes to the music of the game? To kind of get that feeling of the 80s vibe, how did you come to decide what kind of track you were using for each of the maps?
So I think, Paul, you're probably the...
Well, yeah, this is a similar process. You know, like all projects have a creative director, or you know, and those guys, they shop around, they try stuff. You know, hey, this track could be cool, and then you try it out, and then wow, well, no, it doesn't really fit. And you go through that process a couple times, and
You get
eventually
your one,
you pick what fits and what you like. And
Ooh, Makino, you got this. Don't give up.
we also work with the external you know, partners.
Yeah, and we have
So
amazing partners.
They make
also.
you know, they make tracks. We give feedback, send new versions.
Awesome. Well, guys, we are almost out of time. So before we wrap it up, I'd like you guys to each maybe tell us what is your favorite aspect of Madzik, or any aspect that you loved working on that you want to share with the audience.
Well, I'll go first since I'm currently recovering from getting sick. So
Sure.
I really enjoyed, basically, my work as a game designer had me building the levels, so kind of deciding like where to put the enemies and how much to put and how many enemies to put in there and like how to arrange the levels. So I think that was a very interesting element where kind of trying to dose the challenge that we're gonna kind of confront our players with. And also a second thing, because you know I'll say two things if I want.
Go ahead.
Just working on the dialogues and the voice acting, recording and everything was a blast. Again, I'll say it again, like these are extremely talented actors, and seeing them like in action, that was my second time for my second project that I got to attend recording sessions, and it was a blast.
And Paul, what about you?
On my side, I guess I'll give two things as well. I think the most challenging, from my perspective, was everything around the moon change. Doing all the enemy swap and environment swap, gameplay ingredients. They all have different behaviors, different looks. Even the characters with the Moon Fury. So all this was a very interesting challenge. But in terms of gameplay, the combat for me is I don't know, and on stream it might look simple, maybe not. It's actually it's a pretty deep system. It's very fun. There's a lot to do in the combat. I feel it's very well executed as well. So
How does it feel to go from a very pre-alpha, you see your gameplay a little bit, and now you see this, and the episode 1 is out, and you have like this product now out on Steam? How does that feel inside to finally, also get community feedback on the game and all that?
Yeah, it's super satisfying a bit. Not anxiety, but like it's exciting and it's slightly scared. Good scared.
I died.
All right. And
It's a great game.
any last words for players that may not be sure if they want to get their hands on Madzik?
Now's the best time to check it out. It's like, as you were saying, 30% off for the first week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like our early adopter special. You can check it out. Give us feedback. Like, I'm sure you're gonna find something that you like about it, whether it's the story or the gameplay or the story or the gameplay, but the style, also the buddy partnership between the two heroes. Like, they have this banter that's really fun as you play, and the villain, like, do you think he's enough over the top, or could he be even more over the top? Like, I don't know. Feedback's welcome.
Yeah, we have a Discord channel if you want to join it. If you can talk to us directly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the live stream. Be sure you go and check out Madzik, 30% discount on Steam right now. Paul has said it. Be sure you follow the social media accounts and join the Discord. The team wants to know your thoughts on the game. Would love to read your feedback and send us your comments. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.